where we begin. Look at him. The new head coach at UNC. He actually did it, you guys. He's the new head coach for North Carolina. The 8-time Super Bowl champion officially headed to Chapel Hill, or Chapel Bill, as they're calling it. He had his introductory press conference earlier today. We're going to hear this throughout the show, but let's hear some of it right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was, we went through a process, but it was great. Every step of the way was great. The support was tremendous. All the things that I feel are important to have a successful program, Bubba and Chancellor Roberts reaffirmed, and I think they've made they've made a great commitment to this program. Obviously, of a great university, and I'd say along the way, as kind of things got out, if you will, the amount of support that I got from Carolina grads, former Carolina football players, and not that I'm any social media expert, because I'm not, but there was an awful lot of, positive feedback from my face and stuff like that, and it was great. But if you look at the players we had in the NFL, Tom Brady was a fourth-string quarterback his rookie year. He didn't exactly come in as, with any play time at all. Gronkowski, he, didn't do too much his rookie year. Julian Edelman played quarterback in college. Then he was a wide receiver, and then he was a punt returner. So developing players is, something that Michael and I believe strongly in, and we'll support that with the staff, and we'll support that with the program. There's a lot of opportunity and room for growth for all players. There's so much growth in players, and again, I just think there's a little more time to do it here at the college level, and I'm excited about that opportunity. I didn't come here to leave.
The applause in the room says it all. All right, Adam Schefter joining us now. Adam, what more can you tell us about why Belichick made the choice to head to Carolina?
Well, I think North Carolina, Laura, offered him certainty. He was certain to get that job. They went to him, wanted him. He was the biggest fish out there, and they lured it in somehow, some way with a 5-year agreement. And if we go back to last year in the NFL, there wasn't a team out there that made an offer to Bill. Atlanta did not offer him its head coaching job. Washington did not offer him its head coaching job. And now we don't know what this upcoming head coaching cycle in the NFL would have meant to his chances. But clearly Bill Belichick didn't trust the NFL enough to know that there was certainty that he would be getting a job. And so he opted for the certainty of a job in college, which has become more and more like the NFL with the business that it now is, with NIL money, with the transfer portal, with the sport changing before our eyes. And a lot of people say, well, maybe he's not going to do this for good. Maybe he will go back to the NFL. You heard Bill Belichick answer the question there. He didn't go to North Carolina to leave North Carolina.
Yeah, he said that emphatically, as he is wont to do. He also talked about developing players, which will be important, certainly at North Carolina. He's going to coach in college for the first time after coaching for 49 seasons in the NFL. That includes 24 seasons as the Patriots head coach, during which he won 6 Super Bowl titles, the most by any coach. He's only 14 wins shy of Don Shula's record for most wins by a head coach in NFL history. Now, RC, you know Belichick well. You work with him every week. What do you think about him making the move to the college game?
First of all, the freaking man can keep a secret. I was with him until 3 o'clock yesterday, and I felt like as soon as he walked out of the building, Adam broke the story. I think Coach is a lot different than what he presents in the press conferences. Coach is understanding, Coach is thoughtful, and he's an absolute genius, not just from the standpoint of a level of foundational knowledge, but the wisdom that he gained throughout the wins and losses in his coaching career. And he said something during the press conference that really made sense to me. He said the college job came to me. He said there were so many college coaches who called him about the 2-minute warning, or they don't call it a 2-minute warning, they call it a 2-minute timeout. They came to him about the green dot on the helmet. They came to him about the tablets on the sideline. And so more and more, the college game was morphing into the professional game. And maybe he had worn a little thin on the NFL, and maybe not so many teams were interested in bringing him in and having him try to take over their professional organization. But if you're the North Carolina Tar Heels, you have to feel like this is an absolute home run, at least from a publicity perspective. And we also know from a resume perspective that this school has won in getting the greatest NFL coach of all time.
Yeah, Ryan, I was a little surprised, like I guess a lot of people, because I assumed Bill would be trying to return to the NFL to chase Shula's wins record. But as this story has unfolded and there's been reporting around him and his interests and the way he's talked about it, it makes a lot more sense to me. He very clearly wants to have that influence on an entire program that I think partially explains why he didn't get an NFL job last year. It wasn't just about Bill Belichick, the coach. I think teams were a little bit hesitant about Bill Belichick, the program builder, even if he wasn't, the GM in name. Now, that said, I'm totally agreeing with you about this being a home run for North Carolina, and I just want to cut to the football aspect of it. Bill Belichick is the single greatest defensive game planner in the history of the sport. And at the college level, I think he's going to have the opportunity to experiment and to try to compensate for any talent disadvantage early on as they try to build that program back up. So I personally, just as a fan of the game, I'm really excited to see what he does at this level as a football mind.
Yeah, me too. Marcus, if you were a top recruit coming out of college, or coming into college, excuse me, do you think that North Carolina will be an appealing destination for impact players right now?
I think it would. I think Bill Cachet obviously elevates that, but I lived in Charlotte. It's a great place. I lived around Chapel Hill, went there a lot. It's a great place to go to college. Obviously, we reference a lot of basketball when we start talking about North Carolina and Duke, but this is one of those seminal moments in the program. I remember, when I chose LSU wasn't a hotbed destination for top-level recruits, even the guys that were from Louisiana. And Nick Saban didn't really have the cachet that Bill Belichick has going. So I think it's going to be very enticing for young men to go to North Carolina. They'll at least visit it now. That name will make some guys who didn't have North Carolina on their roster be a potential destination for them to at least take a visit. And once you get them on campus, you got to do the job. A similar effect to what I think Prime has done at Colorado. Here's the thing about Bill Belichick, too. I think this consistently elevates the idea that college is now semi-professional sports, because they're going to lean on his acumen with roster construction, with being able to go and build a program similarly to what he did in New England. And I think we got to start calling college football what it is. It's a semi-professional sport now. And when you got coaches of this acumen with this type of experience willing to go to college and coach football, it says a lot about where the game is right now. Belichick, I think, is going to thrive at North Carolina.
Yeah, that's sort of been brewing for a while here as we've seen the college game change. And it does also make you think, Dan, about the fact that so many of these players want to go to the NFL. So if you know that you've got a head coach in recruiting that has already had this success in the NFL, you got to think that factors in with their desire to go there. When it's all said and done, do you think this is going to be a successful venture for Bill Belichick in the college game?
I don't know Coach Belichick to fail. So, yes, yeah. I think it'll be successful, and I agree to their points. Go ahead, RC. What do you got?
Oh, no, I didn't want you to say it. I was raising my hand, so the producer called on me. It was nothing about real football. I just know that I didn't know what a Tar Heel is, but their mascot looks like a sort of goat. They should just change it to that, because can you imagine the propaganda you could have with Bill Belichick walking side by side on North Carolina campus with Michael Jordan, and you have like the little mascot next to you? Man, you go in any house and win.
That's a good idea.
Give that Tar Heel the cutoff.
That's a good idea. Like Georgia's got the Bulldog, Texas has got Bevo. They should have Jordan, Belichick, and just a goat walking the sideline. Yeah, I think it'll be successful. I think everyone's point of, if you don't follow college football, that it is so similar to the NFL, kind of what it was maybe 15 years ago, then that's like the missing link here. I'd also say this, because everyone's question today was, how does the NFL let him walk away and not chase him down? One, most of the openings that we have right now, or that we assume are going to get open right now, all are attached to younger quarterbacks. And while Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time, it is fair to say, if you're the Chicago Bears, you probably want Ben Johnson, because it's all going to come down to Caleb Williams. Or if you're the New York Giants or Raiders and you're picking one, you might want a young offensive mind to be attached with that quarterback. I think the second thing with it is this. Coach Belichick now, unlike the NFL, gets to have multiple quarterbacks that he can choose from. In the NFL, you get one because of the salary cap. In college football, you can have multiple really good quarterbacks on your roster, and so he'll never kind of have to go through what he did at the back end of that New England stretch when he was trying to search and find that next Tom Brady answer.
You know, one thing, too, when it comes to the transfer portal, that's a big part, and NIL is a big part of college. You got to remember that there have been some teams this year, Ole Miss comes to mind as one of them, that tried to build their team in the portal to make it to the playoff. It didn't end up working out because at the end of the day, you got to get all those players to play in a way that's going to lead to championships, which we all know Bill Belichick can do. So I think this is going to be a massive success. I'm excited he's coming to the college game.